Bartholomew Massacre, Catherine de Medici. In 1916, city of Babylon, 639 B. Griffith later issued this tremendous fourth under the title, The Fall of Babylon, much as we are about to see it now.
The history of the motion picture. A series in which we follow the growth of new art, its earliest beginnings, the first concept of projection, the development of story and spectacle, and the great stars. All a part of the history of the picture.
Half a century ago, with the movies barely out of the Nickelodeon era, D.W. Griffith reached far beyond the imagination of his time and created the great spectacle, Intolerance. The setting for the fourth theme was Babylon at the height of its glory. The ruler of Babylon, who advocated religious and political tolerance, is Belshazzar. His bodyguard, called by Griffith the mighty man of valor, is played by Elmo Lincoln, who 2 years later was to be the screen's first Tarzan. As usual in his spectacles, Griffith used important historical figures to set time, place, and theme, and then interwove fictional characters to carry the storyline. Here, the mountain girl and the rhapsode, a young poet priest. Babylon in these last days was a city given over to the pursuit of pleasure and the worship of Ishtar, goddess of love. Griffith was drawing a parallel with Rome. History has shown that the abuse of freedom can be as potent a weapon in the destruction of a civilization as the army of a tyrant. Griffith was a scholar and a historian, but he was also a shrewd showman who knew the appeal of a pretty face and a shapely figure. He made full use of them in all his historical spectacles. But within his own gates, Belshazzar has an enemy, the high priest of the god Bel, whose hold on the people has been broken by the new freedoms and the worship of Ishtar. He and his priests have formed a secret alliance with Cyrus the Great, king of Persia, who is encamped 40 miles away, his army preparing for the titanic struggle with the never-defeated city of Babylon. Assyrians, Mesopotamians, Africans, Huns, Mongolians, all part of a great army with one purpose, to crush Babylon. In each of the four themes of Intolerance, Griffith dramatized the manners and morals of the times. The marriage market was a means to ensure that all women would find husbands. The mountain girl is brought to the market by her brother. Constance Talmadge played the mountain girl as a pixie rather than as a shrew. Her performance thrust her overnight into stardom. scallions. Griffith brings his real and fictional characters together as Belshazzar himself gives the mountain girl royal permission to marry or not as she pleases. The mountain girl's love and gratitude for Belshazzar becomes an integral part of the plot. A few days later, as Belshazzar arrives at the temple of the moon god, the mountain girl listens as one of the rebel priests criticizes him, calling him an atheist. And in what was a deliberately half-comic scene, she springs to the defense of her king. Only to find herself seized by the soldiers of the high priest of Bel himself. Griffith takes a certain amount of dramatic license in enlarging upon what the Bible and history tell us of Belshazzar. The Bible refers to him only briefly when the handwriting on the wall tells him of the coming downfall of Babylon. Historians suggest that Belshazzar was not as idealistic as Griffith paints him, and for that matter, that Cyrus was not as completely villainous. But in essence, Griffith's reconstruction of the times is an accurate one. The Babylonian outpost has spotted the Persian army, and a courier is sent to warn the city. As he leaves to take personal charge of his army, Belshazzar says goodbye to the princess beloved, played by Sina Owen. These huge sets were built right on Hollywood Boulevard. The Babylon stage was half a mile long. Perhaps the most amazing thing of all is that almost all of it was photographed by the great Billy Bitzer with a single hand-cranked camera. The battle develops in 3 stages. First, the storming of the walls. Mobile towers, pushed by elements. There were literally thousands of extras. In all, the cost was $2 million. But experts estimate the same shooting today would cost $30 million. When the tower attack is repulsed, the battle falls into its second stage. Distance fighting, mechanized spears, catapult, as Cyrus, king of Persia, sends forth another wave of assault towers into battle. Recall for a moment that this was filmed almost 50 years ago. The very moment that the Persian assault has finally breached the walls of Babylon, a new weapon is unleashed, a flamethrower. Burning and destroying the very base of the Persian attack itself. Victory. Glory to Ishtar. In one of the most famous scenes in movie history, Babylon begins its bacchanal of victory. No other set of such magnitude has ever been constructed before or since. The camera seems to float in and down. Cameraman Bitzer ingeniously overcame the lack of mechanical cranes by devising one of his own. In structure, it resembled these and mounted on rail wheels. Elaborately wardrobed extras dress every corner and precipice of the set. A panorama much better suited for the wide screens of 50 years later. Belshazzar pours out his colossal hospitality in a feast that lasts many days. betrayal is in the making. The high priest of Bel orders the young poet to prepare for a secret journey to the camp of the defeated Cyrus. To impress the mountain girl, he foolishly tells her about his secret mission. She's fond of the young poet, but her first loyalty is to Belshazzar. So, using all her wiles, she wheedles from him the details of the plan. The bacchanal goes on. The Princess Beloved blesses the white rose of victory and bestows it on her own Belshazzar. The mountain girl asks to go with him. She sees that the priests of Bel have bribed the... And seeing her chance, she follows. Cyrus, restless, beaten, awaits the arrival of the traders. The high priest tells Cyrus their allegiance is with him, and that now is the time to strike back at Babylon. Narration. The famous 3 tomorrows. Griffith again drives home a moral. The warning is too late. The gods of the great gate of Imgabel, which no enemy has been able to force, have been bribed well. and the hordes of Cyrus sweep through. Belshazzar calls for his armor, and with only his personal bodyguards, makes a stand. To save him the disgrace of capture, the mighty man of valor bids Belshazzar return to his throne. The princess says that honor commands that they must go with their king to the death halls of Elath. Finally, even the mighty man of valor falls. The king is dead. Long live the king.